In this video, I'm doing an unboxing and review of the DK-3001 Pro from DUNU. Oh yeah. Now, this is a Beryllium 5-driver hybrid earphones. In fact, it's one Beryllium dynamic driver and 4 Knowles balanced armature drivers. The current price on AliExpress, I believe, is $469. Let's get right into it. So here we are. If you saw my other DK-3001 video, you'll know that I really love that one. I love doing this stuff in general, so I'm pretty excited about this. And oh yeah, nice. Wow, look at that. Damn. So here we've got a bit of info on the modular cable system, which I've sort of covered already. Damn, look at that, it's nice. But boom, oh man. Okay, apparently with the 3001 Pro you get the full set of various terminations, whereas the DK-3001 only comes with the 3.5mm unbalanced in the box. Wow. The design from first glance looks very similar to the 3001. Ooh, yeah. So the 2001 came with that bright blue case. This one has a jade green, I think it's real leather this time. So a jade green leather case. And yeah, that is nice. Smell test. You can't tell from the smell these days. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. So here they are, the DUNU DK-3001 Pro. Penta driver, one 13mm beryllium coated dynamic driver and 4 Knowles balanced armature drivers. So the price is about $469. So we're getting up there into the mid-tier sort of levels there. They're not cheap. They are fully $160 odd more than the DK-3001. We've got the 316 stainless steel shells here, so you know they're going to be durable as heck. Built like a tank. Very sturdy. Fairly small shells. In terms of comfort, yes, they have been improved over the original DK-3001. They're still not the most comfortable IEMs out there, but at the same time, yeah, they're pretty good as far as comfort goes. I do get a little bit of a hot spot in my right ear, only my right ear, but that's only after like 3 or 4 hours of non-stop use, and readjusting, just a slight readjustment usually takes care of that pretty quickly. But here they are, and I tell you what, man, like, I guess you could call me a DUNU fanboy. I don't have any reason to be, but man, these guys are killing it. And right now, I think DUNU are making my favorite universal IEMs right now. They're just unbelievably good, incredibly good. As far as sound, like I said, ergonomics could still be improved a little bit, but in terms of sound, man, there's not much that can match these. Let's have a quick look at the cable here as well. We've got a similar setup to what we had with the 2001 here, the DK-3001. Wait, I'll just pull it out for comparison. I don't remember the name of this cable. It's got some funky name. But you can clearly see they're different. This one here is called the Lyre, the L-Y-R-E, DUNU Lyre cable. And it's an OCC copper cable. It's doubly purified, so they got something like 99.9999% pure copper wire, and then they purified it additionally with fire, and then they crafted this cable and put it in lovely flexible insulation. It's just a beautiful cable. And of course the highlight is, once again, you get the modular system here, which means you can really quickly and easily change out the termination. So you're good to go with whatever source you want to use. So right now, that's the 3.5mm. If I want to use the balanced output, switch over to the 4.4 Pentacon termination, and boom, just like that. So man, if you're like me and you've got multiple sources that you use, you got to get one of these cables, man. I tell you, they're so good, so convenient. But anyway, let's get back to it. The sound is, yeah, as I alluded to earlier, it's so fucking good. I love these things, man. It's a very balanced and linear sound. I know seem to have been saying that a lot lately, but in this case, if you see the frequency graph, which I'll pop up here, the frequency response across the spectrum is very linear. It's very balanced, but it's not neutral. It's an important thing to point out, because neutral is very flat and it can be very boring. It can be quite analytical, and some people love that. It's especially good for content creation if you're editing videos or mastering music and things like that, mixing music. But for listening to music, it's not always that great. Fortunately, luckily for these, they are linear, but they're not neutral. So everything's been sort of bumped up a little bit, particularly the bass. The bass is not huge, but man, it's got heaps of punch. Like, you will not find it lacking unless you're an absolute bass head and you're listening to particular songs that you're waiting for that big bass drop. But these have got it, man. These really kick. And the reason why, even though the mid bass isn't that prominent, so you don't get a bloated mid bass, you don't get a boomy mid bass, but the reason the bass feels so authoritative is because the transition from the mid bass to the sub bass is very linear. There's hardly any fall off whatsoever. So you get this deep seated sort of powerful sub bass, and that sort of carries over and gives the entire bass from the lower sub to the upper bass, gives it a really lots of authority. And like I said, you will not be missing the bass. And on top of that, it's very clean, it's very textured. It's that beryllium dynamic driver does a fantastic job. It's fast driver, so it doesn't get bogged up during busy music. It's fast, it's clean, it's textured, really nicely weighted, sounds very natural, and yeah, just one piece of the puzzle. Now moving on to the mid-range. The mid-range is fairly neutral. It's not pushed up as much as the bass, so it's fairly neutral. It's a little bit kind of lean, but it's got just the right amount of body and warmth that makes it sound extremely natural and organic. it's not at all hollow sounding, it's not at all thin. It's very natural, it's got a nice amount of body, but it still sounds really clean. It's not ultra clear, like it doesn't have ultra clarity, but that's part of the reason why it sounds so natural in the mid-range. If you have too much clarity, yeah, you can get some extra detail and it sounds really crisp and clean, but at the same time, your kick drums will become too sharp. The attack on them will be too sharp. It sounds more like a clap than a thud, and you can get some really harsh snare attacks and things like that. So yeah, you don't want too much leanness in the mid-range, but these have got just the right amount of body. Of course, the balanced armature drivers that are in charge of the mid-range, they're nice and they're extremely fast. They've got fast transients, which makes the instrument separation sound really good. The mid-range is very resolving, so you can sort of pick apart all the sounds really well. You can hear exactly what's going on, so you get a lot of resolution, which is different from, I won't go into that, just take my word for it. The mid-range is fantastic. Vocals sound really good, nice vocal density, a little bit on the intimate side, so the vocals are kind of close to you, but not cloyingly close. Just, all right. And finally, we go to the treble. Now, the treble is one of my favorite aspects of the DK-3001 Pro. And that sounds kind of silly because all of it is kind of my favorite because I just love the sound basically. But yeah, the treble, it's very light, it's very airy, but it doesn't have any harshness or sibilance whatsoever. It's very smooth to listen to. You can turn up the volume nice and loud. It does not get sharp. It does not get irritating or edgy, but it still has good energy and it still has good detail. The thing is, the treble notes are a little bit rounded or feathered, which what that does is it takes off any sort of harsh edges on it. It just gives it a little bit softer approach, but they've done it just right, so it's still nice and crisp, but at the same time it's very airy, it's very light, and it's just so good. It's just one of the things I really love about it. Similar to the Queen Audio QM50, which also has a really nice treble as well. So yeah, that's it. As far as the sound goes, I love these. Are they worth the extra cost over the DK-3001? Well, I don't know. That's going to be up to you and how much you're willing to spend on an earphone. For me, these are definitely a worthy upgrade. After listening to these for a full week exclusively, when I was writing my review, for the written review, by the way, check the link down in the description. Yeah, when I compared these to the 2001, going back to those ones, to these ones, these definitely sounded a bit more V-shaped. They sounded more aggressive, which a lot of people will like. It's a little bit more of a fun sound from these ones. And they're actually, in terms of performance, technical performance, they do get pretty close to these ones. So it's still a very, very good buy. Still my favorite, my #1 recommendation at the $300 price mark. But if you're willing to go a bit higher, you'll be rewarded with these. These are unbelievably good, really good. They are the latest addition to my best IEMs list on the website. Make sure you go and check that out as well. So I'll give you a quick comparison with the FiiO FH7 here. In terms of the bass response, these two are very similar. If you see the graph, I'll pop it up on the screen. From the sub bass up to the mid bass and into the lower mid range is very, very similar. But when you get to the upper mid-range, the FiO is lifted a bit more, which brings the vocals forward, which is nice. So these are great if you're particularly interested in vocal music, vocals focused music. But in order to balance that sort of more forward mid-range, upper mid-range, FiO also lifted the treble as well, and that's one area where some people have a bit of an issue with these because it can be a little bit bright. The treble is very forward on these. Not exactly bright is maybe not the right word, but the treble is very forward. But it's not a thin or a particularly harsh treble, but it can be fatiguing. So yeah, for my money, I would choose the DUNU, although these are still very good, and I'd be happy. I mean, I am still happy to spend a day with these, no worries at all. So that's about it, guys, for the DUNU DK-3001 Pro. Highly recommended by me. Absolutely love these. Check out the full written review on the website. And if you like this video, please give it a likes up. And if you want to see more reviews like this, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, folks, I'll see you later.